Hello, everybody. My name is Amul Patel. You're watching the Smoking Hot Coffee Show, where every day, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we talk to startup founders. I'm joined with...
Hey guys, I'm Jeff Pelton down here in San Diego.
And today we have an amazing interview. That's three amazings. With Chris from GorillaDesk.com. What an amazing story. Him learning from his family business and setting out to scale that, and his parents not into it, and he doing it on his own, and then eventually leaving that to creating a software as a service product. And Jeff, tell us more about him and his Gorilla Desk.
Yeah, what a great entrepreneur. This product, GorillaDesk, is a software as a service that he's been poignantly developing and working on for a little while now. Like you said, he comes from a family business where they were doing termites, right? Or pest control,
Control, yeah.
And so he's really familiar with that business, and from his software background or internet marketing background or what he wanted to get into, he took that business and took it online.
Yeah.
And they had 7 trucks and covered quite
and he
a
scaled
bit
it
of area.
3 times what his family was doing. And what was unexpected was I thought maybe his parents were super happy that he was able to do this, but his parents were just thinking of all the work and all the additional extra pressure of scaling, and so he decided to take that challenge on, and he tripled it. And but that wasn't his passion. His passion was the internet software. And
so that seemed like the bridge, right, from there to GorillaDesk, which is the software as a service, like full online version of that, the tool that powers that industry.
Yeah.
And not just pest control, but any sort of service business.
Yeah, and so we had a really great conversation about what the itch was, scratching his own itch, how he got the first developers, what happened when his first developer fell out, his thinking on what platform to build on, how he reached out to his first customers, how he got his first customers, how I can go on and on. That's a huge list. Jeff, I could have a list. This guy should write a book. I mean, he's a good study. He really reads up on this stuff. He knows what he's talking about. Every decision he made, I thought it was really smart about staying under your means, not spending more than you earn, and just keeping it really lean, and getting out there. And I don't know where to go, Jeff. It's just so much.
Yeah, we covered so much. This guy, I think, taught us quite a bit today about how we got into the philosophy of startups and sort of trying to do things the right way, and sort of how you should approach things, and because there's a lot of noise out there and a lot of advice, and it's hard to kind of figure out the right things to do amidst all of this chaos going on out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many decisions to be made, and making that jump to starting your own business, and the pressures and the pains and the issues that you go through, the sacrifices, the whole entrepreneurial mindset. We talked all about all
the motivations of money versus the challenge, and the passion, and how big you should want your business to be, taking VC money versus bootstrapping.
Right.
All difficult topics and challenges for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, it was a really great window into a guy that's been in the trenches and got a product, and he's actually trying to turn it into a success right now and getting some early customers. And he really knows what he's doing in terms of he's been there and he's built something. This isn't just a one entrepreneur. He's actually doing it, and he's gotten a customer or two. So it was really great seeing that. I think he's going to be very successful, and I'm really looking forward to learning more about his success in the coming years. But yeah, you're going to learn a ton from this interview if you're remotely interested in entrepreneurship. But I totally watch this thing.
Yeah, it's early days for this guy, but he's got a plan, and it's really fun to hear it, and I think it's going to be fun to watch it unravel.
Absolutely.
As he is really focused on his goals, and he's got a plan.
Yeah, and off camera, we talked for almost like an hour afterwards, and it was just such a great meeting him and talk to him. And so, please check it out. We do this once Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. And subscribe to us on iTunes and on Stitcher and YouTube. And Jeff?
Everyone, check us out on our website, smokingHotCoffee.com. If you guys are listening from another podcast or the Tech Podcast Network, come check us out at our website and sign up for our newsletter and our other updates that we have, or find us on Twitter and all the other social networks so you can share us.
Yeah, and so we love getting emails, so please email us at info@smokinghotcoffee.com. We really, really love those emails. So please send those emails over and, keep watching the show and refer us to some of your colleagues. That'd be really great.
Yep, perfect.
Chris, thanks for coming on the show today, man. Really appreciate it. How you doing today?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, you were a referral from GoCarrot, and so far all the referrals we've gotten from him have been really great. And how do you know these guys?
Pretty odd story, I guess. When I look for inspiration for doing design work, I go to my favorite site, which is Dribbble, and Mark had a couple portfolio pieces on there. I was looking for a name for my SaaS startup.
Right.
He had a really cool looking illustrated gorilla, and that sparked the name for GorillaDesk.
That's so great.
Yeah, I contacted Mark just blindly saying, hey, is this illustration being used for anything? He said, no, it was for an old project. And he said, once your startup's making some cash, you can, throw me a little cash for the logo eventually. So
that's awesome.
He let me use it.
That's great.
Wow, what a great story, Jeff. That's the most unique way I've heard of naming your SaaS.
Yeah, and it's great to hear that Dribbble was able to find you some creative inspiration. Is it the gorilla on your homepage here that I'm looking at?
That's the guy like in the little video window.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
This is very cool. Yeah, he's a great illustrator, no doubt. All right, so give us your background, how you got into this business, all that kind of thing.
Man, I have a long story, so I'll try to just.
All right. Well, give us the 5-minute version.
All right. So I graduated Florida State University with a degree in creative writing.
Okay.
Always dabbled in web and design. Loved Photoshop, Dreamweaver, all that jazz. Was never really a technical guy though. Not a developer at all.
Okay.
When I graduated college, I had one job for about almost a year. Saved up all that money and started my first e-commerce store. And I was selling promotional products, printed materials and stuff.
So what time frame was this? Was it like, 8 years ago, 7, 5?
So this is 2004.
Okay.
And from 04 to 05, actually 2 years to 06, I ran that e-commerce store with some success, but it was quite draining and not really that, I lost the passion for that pretty quickly. That was really my first foray in saying, I want to do something online.
Right.
What can I jump into? Let's do it.
That's great. So what were you selling? I'm just curious.
Promotional printed products, just,
Okay.
Printed pens, custom shirts, all that.
Right. Okay, so this is a B2B kind of e-commerce business.
Yep.
Gotcha.
The focus I had, the reason I got into it is because I knew a couple of local gymnastics competitions and the owners, and they always needed a lot of stuff, a lot of materials for those events. So I supplied them. They were big customers, and I brought it online because I wanted to do something online.
Okay.
Actually, the relationships I built in person were more effective than my actual marketing skills online.
Gotcha.
So my store never really did that well. It was more of, my interacting with people locally.
Right. So it's basically an order-taking mechanism, basically.
Right.
With
so
people that you knew in your.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Exactly. Okay. From that experience, though, it made me think, I stink at online marketing. I need to work on this skill.
Okay. Right.
Let me go and do some research and reading.
All right.
Interesting.
So I guess like all entrepreneurs, I got a lot of books. I just started following all the top bloggers that you guys probably know about. I'm really a fan of Neil Patel.
Right.
And just started to work on my chops.
Okay. So what happened? What'd you end up building next?
Well, from there, my family's always owned a pest control company, and I saw an opportunity in the organic pest control market.
Okay.
It's become a rising trend,
Right.
Whole food, all that.
No, it totally makes sense. Yeah, everybody wants organic, and pest control is a big danger, apparently.
Yeah, in South Florida, it's so humid here. There's a lot of different pest issues, and it's a big industry actually in Florida.
Okay.
So, coming off of that previous business, I jumped into this because I had some knowledge and history on it.
Right.
And my family's company they never did anything online. It was
Right.
all word of mouth.
Yeah.
And I thought if I can take the organic niche and bring it online,
Right.
that their company would be really successful.
That's great. Yeah.
So that's actually what I did, and I grew the company that was 25 years old threefold.
Wow.
Wow.
Wait a second. How did your
Holy
parents
cow.
take this? Like, were they like so pleased? Like, oh my God, this is so great. You know, or my son or my daughter's like tripling the business. Like, how did that?
They took it differently because they're old timers now. So
Okay.
they thought, oh, more headache, more to do. You know, they want to keep it small.
Yeah.
So
How was it getting them to start that journey then?
what's that?
Did you have to get them to approve that, the journey to start taking it online, or was there?
No. So essentially, what I did is I said, look, I'm going to start it as my own company.
Okay.
All I did was a DBA, a different DBA under their same incorporation.
Okay.
And I just started to do it all on my own.
Okay.
And I built up their company. I mean, they had a small business. They had it might have been 150,000 gross, and I grew up business in about 3 years to 300 and something gross.
Wow.
So
That's great.
just all online, and that's where I really practice on content marketing and driving SEO, PPC, and all that.
Got you. So out of all those PPC, content marketing, SEO, I'm just curious, which one was the best ROI in your opinion?
It's definitely going to be on-page optimization and content marketing.
Okay. So basically, the organic SEO stuff.
Yep, 100%.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you still feel that way?
It keeps on giving, right? A lot of guys are a fan of PPC because it's like an engine,
Right.
but you're giving into that to get back,
You have to keep feeding it.
yeah, organic keeps on giving, and you don't have to keep on, feeding into it.
I love it. I love it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Wow. So are you still doing that, or where are you at these days?
You can see that site at naturalresourcesfl.com
Okay,
for
let's take a
Florida.
look at it. Yeah. So what is this? Are you essentially selling products and shipping them, or what is this business actually?
No, we're selling. This is actual service-based business. So we have 7 guys in trucks that drive around South Florida, all 3 large counties here,
That's awesome. I love
and
that.
minister service.
I love it. Oh, this is great. We
great.
talked to so many just pure software, and I love it when there's like an actual business and there's human beings driving around and.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how big of an area do you guys cover? South Florida?
Yeah, so it's about 75 miles up and down the East Coast, Southeast Coast.
Oh, great.
That's a
7
lot of
trucks.
work, man. How did obviously your parents are probably feeling like, oh my God, managing all these people. How did you deal with that, man? Are you still doing that, or?
So, yeah, and luckily today is actually the day that I've trained enough people to take my place that I can focus on my new SaaS software.
Wow. So, people talk about this whole like, don't do everything yourself and delegate and eventually replace yourself, and it's a really hard transition. How did that go?
So it's not a complete transition. I don't think ever. If you're an owner in a business, I'm still going to have to do direct, a lot of directing.
Okay.
But it's about just trusting people, really. I think you just need to do your best in training them, put your full trust in them, and let them surprise you.
Okay. What if they don't surprise you and piss you off? Which happens. I mean,
Yeah, I mean that can happen, and it's very common. And this is a blue collar field, so
Yeah.
you have to find where to pick the right people.
Okay.
So in my business, for example, one guy who turned out being great for me was a firefighter.
Okay.
So firefighters do 2 full days on, and then the rest of the week they have off.
Okay.
And these guys are just hardworking guys with no issues. They're already working for the city.
Gotcha.
So going to a fire station saying, work pest control part-time, that's a really good option.
Oh, I see. Interesting. Yeah, reliability is like such a big deal, man. And, people trusting you with money. I mean, I don't know how you guys handle money. Is it all credit card transaction? Is there cash and all that, or?
Cash, check, credit card, everything is accounted for.
Okay.
So
Well, it's great.
there's
Yeah, well, let me raise my virtual or my real cup to you. Congrats, man. You're doing great.
Coffee.
Thanks.
This is like a rare thing, man. Have a business, have employees, being able to transition into a software. It's really great.
So yeah, so my passion for the pest control business was fueled in the beginning for my passion for online marketing. Right, I wanted to build a business using online marketing skills. Now that I've put that in practice, my passion for the actual service business of pest control isn't as high as wanting to have a SaaS startup, because I guess we all think SaaS is sexy, and I do. I feel like
Hell yeah.
that business model, it can be national,
Yeah.
international.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Let the
Yeah,
robots
so
do the
that's
work. Let them do the work. Yeah.
So that's really where my own passion is going now. So I really want to focus on our application software. And this is coming from scratching our own itch, right? So
Yeah.
I've owned a pest control business now for so long.
Right.
I know what I would want. I have some design and internet background, and I feel like, of course, everybody feels like, hey, I can do it better.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's happening here.
Wow.
Nice. That's what we love to hear. I mean,
Yeah.
basically the startup way.
Yeah,
I mean,
this-
it's really great that you have all that history and experience, and you are the customer, and you can kind of, do the customer development really quick.
Exactly. I feel like it would be really difficult to be going into a field you're not as familiar with. I mean, you'd have to be doing all that research and such.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's get into it. What itch are you scratching here?
So, current marketing on the site, I mean, the site was really just thrown up, but it is for service businesses. So the software essentially works for any small service business, think 1 to 10 man in size, for cleaning, electrician, plumbers, pest control, maid services,
Okay.
anything where somebody has to go out to a home.
Gotcha.
Or-
Now, that's
or like-
obviously a huge market. There's tons of these little companies. It's really fragmented. Could be a big opportunity.
Yeah. So thinking about that, though, that's kind of too general. So to start off, you really have to have more of a niche. So the focus of the site and my own marketing effort is going to be for pest control companies in the beginning.
Okay, very good.
Okay. Yep.
So there's been a lot of debate amongst really myself and my other nerdy dudes around here. Do I change all the marketing messaging to be just pest control software related, or keep it open as service business software?
Yeah,
What do
it's
you
a
guys
big
think
decision.
about that?
Yeah, Jeff, what do you think, man? What's your feeling on this one? We're two nerdy guys.
I'd probably go with the pest control.
Yeah,
as
I'd
a
agree with him on that.
focus, for a long while, like as a start, until you feel happy with that and solidify it, and then
Yeah.
you can probably branch out and have 6 more.
Dude, he's right
or-
on, man.
Or something like that. But I guess it's good to think about it right now, because maybe at least your domain name's not gonna pigeonhole you, or that kind of thing. You still have the
Right.
flexibility. I don't know. That's my point of view.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel the same. So 90% of the people who are signed up for the software right now are all pest control companies.
Awesome.
You'll have a
Beautiful.
few,
Are you like on the phone with these guys, like actually talking with them, getting to know what issues, what problems they're having, or have you done any of that?
Yeah, so right now the conversion method is they sign up for a trial, and I've noticed if I don't reach out to them within the first few days, they're not as likely to convert.
Right.
So I get on the horn with them. I can talk
Love
the
it.
spiel because I've grown a business.
Yeah,
So
yeah. You know
people like me
exactly
to-
what's up. Yeah, this is Jeff. I have to say, this is like brilliant. This is like actual customer, product, market fit. We're seeing a perfect ecosystem, like all of it happening right now. It's
You've
great.
got a huge jumpstart on a lot of the Silicon Valley, let's call them hipster startup guys that struggle so much trying to get that product market fit and do the customer development, get on the on the streets and talk to people.
Yeah.
You've obviously got all that experience and have no trouble, eliciting it from them as well.
Yeah, well, really, I mean, it all comes from my own experience using various softwares already on a day-to-day basis, right? It's like I've already felt all the pains.
Yeah. No, this is great, man.
Okay.
There's so many other
now-
tiny verticals that you can go after later. It's just brilliant. I love it.
Right. So now it's execution then, right? You've got a pretty good idea. You're scratching your own itch. How's the development of it?
So you've got me in really early stage. It is launched. It was launched on, I believe, the 27th of April. And I had a few guys on with my own company doing a whole like alpha stage. I still consider it really now still in beta. Okay. So those guys, they all converted over. It was only like maybe 4 people. And in 2 months, we've had 150 trial signups, and what is it, 7 conversions where they came on the site, and I contacted them in my free time, because up until when I released it 2 months ago, I'm still full time doing pest control.
Right, dealing with
operating that business. Not until really this week have I freed myself up. So we have 11 customers paying. That's just over $300 a month, and
oh my god!
I mean, it's just started. It's really just started. That gets to cover my rack space cost and my sender.
Dude.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this is fucking brilliant, man. I want to raise my cup up to you again.
Yeah.
You're killing it, man.
There you are. So
Thanks.
Now you're tracking the metrics. How? What are the tools that you're using? Anything that what do you open up in the morning to see how the business is going?
So I really wanted to go with Kissmetrics, but that's a $150 expense. So really, I'm just using Analytics right now. And what else do I have on there? I mean, mainly it's Analytics. And then our own internal, I can see how often, what features they're using, how often they're using them, how many times our actives are logging in, how many times the trials are logging in.
Right.
And I kind of go by that, because right now it's so early that what I really need to be doing is getting on the horn with those 150 people right now in trial.
Absolutely. Yeah. You got to call. You got to be calling these guys. Yeah.
So watching the analytics, I don't think is as important until I can grow to that phase. Right now, it's going to be every little trickling trial user. I need to personally touch them until I know my first 200 customers personally, and I know how the product needs to be moving.
Absolutely. Yeah, you want to really be in close contact. You really want to get to know these people early on and really make that product kick ass. Yeah. Well, the $300 a month, man, that is awesome. I mean, what a great price point, man. This is like juice. This is like gold for me, man.
Well, the price point, no, that's in total, okay? So it's $300 total of all 11 customers, because I have mostly you have a $29.
I thought you were making $300 a month. I was like, oh my god, this is the best business ever.
No, it's not that much per company, because really the idea for this is software for the small guy, right?
Okay. Well,
my problem when I started my pest control company is they have large licensing fees and.
Okay, well, in my opinion, man, I think some of these companies, especially if they have a fair amount of a decent sized staff, a crew, and they're servicing a large area, they can, $300 is probably not that expensive for them. But I don't know what part of that market is. Is it only top 10% of all pest control companies? I don't know what those segments are.
Yeah. So my main 80% of all service companies are the one-man show.
Really?
Wow.
That's thousands and thousands more companies that are just the one guy. So that's my target at that $29 price a month. That one guy, that's who I want.
You know what? Yep. I had no idea. I'm talking out of my ass, obviously. So really, it is that small. I had no idea it was one person's 80% of the market. Wow, it's huge.
Yeah, I think it's really great though, because we love entrepreneurs and startups. Like, we're in the web biz, but I mean anyone who's a one-man team, I appreciate. So it's great to have tools like these to support those guys in their startup efforts in the real life.
Exactly.
And plus, I like seeing your pricing here. We've talked about this on a few other episodes. You can always change your pricing, and it looks like you have price per schedules and clients, jobs, and invoices. So I'm sure you can adjust as necessary down the road. You've got plenty of ways to measure people's usage, right? Like, I'm sure there could be bigger companies that you charge up to $150.
Yeah, eventually, but.
So let me ask you.
And for anybody who's trying to think about what this product actually is, think it's FreshBooks with scheduling. So it's FreshBooks with job management integrated into it.
So how are you driving traffic right now? I mean, it looks like you got a pretty decent site here. Are you using just pay-per-click, or what are you doing?
So there's a few articles in our blog section, and that's driving the traffic.
Wow.
And yep, just those few articles. Our main 2 keyword terms right now are pest control software reviews and online pest control software.
I love
those
it.
2 terms will trickle in all the.
I tell you, Chris, you've got it all figured out, man. You got the organic free traffic. You've got a pretty decent size. The price point obviously makes sense. $30 seems like a no-brainer for a lot of these guys. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I could be too low, but like I said, when I started and I had the passion for this software idea, it was to serve that person.
So
You know?
you're saying you guys have what, about 7 people on staff?
Really,
Or
it's just me on staff. As far as, I have 2 developers that are offshore developers, and then a handful of my friends that are listed on the site there. One who's a mentor, one who's I've known forever that helps me on PR. My wife helps me with database administration, and that's it. So really, I'm doing the bulk of everything right now.
Gotcha. Wow.
That's great. So tell us about your customer reach. Are you, as a software as a service now, are you getting customers around the country, or where is the main demographic?
Right. So I was super surprised. The software does not work internationally right now. It's really built for domestic.
Right.
But I'm getting a lot of UK and Australian people asking me, "Hey, when is this going to be ready?"
Wow.
And I really don't have an answer because that's not in the plan right now.
Okay. Is it the issue of like payments and all that? Is that the main problem?
Yeah, I mean, different currencies, different handling different address types, just the layouts of the addresses.
Right.
I mean, none of that was planned in. Again, I released early too, so there's a lot of functionality such as, our current people, they just wanted to be able to print on double windowed envelopes.
Mm-hmm.
That there's lots of small stuff like this that you don't think of on. You just need to get it out there and then start getting feedback.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
No,
great.
it totally makes sense. Wow.
Hey, you gotta just iterate. Yeah, I love to see on your Facebook page you guys posted that. I'm sure that made a lot of people happy that they could print those and throw them in envelopes.
Well,
now.
the people who are using it now, I mean, I'm listening to the current few customers we have, right?
That's great. Yeah, I mean, by the way, I'm looking at your Facebook page. I love what you guys post on here. Looks like you've even got your subscriber backend screenshots.
That shows the first subscriber, the first person who converted.
Yeah.
I mean, that's super exciting because it took a long time just to get there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That is huge. Yeah, that is huge. Wow.
So to put that into context, I had the idea for this while I was doing, the pest control business 3 years ago.
Right.
2 years ago, I started wireframing the whole system myself, just in Photoshop. And 1 year ago, I went into development. It cost about $18,000 in development hours.
Right.
And to get to what I would consider the beta version that's out now. And that's gone through probably 2 design revisions after watching people interact with it in person, just seeing if I felt that it was usable or not yet.
Right.
Nice.
Wow. 18 grand. That sounds a little high, but I have no idea what your software does. I mean, I've got just a bare overview. How long did it take them to build that?
It took just about a year.
Okay.
Again, you got to think I'm doing this part-time. I was not on top of it as much as I could have been if I had all the time to do it.
Wow. So it's got the route management. I'm looking at it right now. That's great.
Showing some features on there.
Yeah. Oh, that is really handy. Handles the routes. That's got to be super nice.
Well, we built in OpenStreetMaps and CloudMade.
Okay.
Sorry. Because Google service costs about 10 grand a year for commercial user licenses.
Yeah,
Wow.
We had a great conversation about that with the Mapbox guys,
Yeah.
who are building on top of the OpenStreetMaps.
What did they say about that? Did they feel like that was you can't do that really when you're starting, right? You can't go for Google's API.
Yeah, I mean that was the sum of our. Google's going to pull the rug out from under you, or they may double the prices someday.
Yeah.
So OpenStreetMaps is actually, or what was it? Mapbox.
Mapbox,
is they're a profitable company built on top of OpenStreetMaps.
Yeah, I know of them. They're pretty cool.
Yeah. No, the trick.
That's a powerful tool to have in your software.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, Chris, mapping is such a huge component for many reasons in many different industries, and having just one company like Google control that is just not helpful. So it's nice to have open source versions and commercial companies on top of that and all that. So that's really great.
Yeah, I love that OpenStreetMaps is releasing more tools to make it easier for adding content. I really hope that that stays as something that's free and open source too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it looks like you got calendaring in here. That's obviously not trivial, and well, there's some definite pains in development of any calendaring software from
Well,
what I've
Yeah,
experienced. So
there are some tough features in there. That's what kind of took it out a few months at a time. I mean, each one of those big feature sets, there's a lot that's gone on to actually make all that
well,
happen.
you know what? Let's talk a little bit about the development process. Did you find some guys on like Elance or Odesk or any of that, or did you know somebody who had referrals? How did that work?
So what I did is I went online and I researched the platforms I wanted to use. So I knew that I could PHP was going to be more affordable, right? Even though maybe I would have wanted preferred Ruby or Python, I just knew I couldn't afford that for the first iteration.
Right.
So I went to PHP. I started researching the frameworks. Got CodeIgniter Symfony, and then Yi came up, and Yi had a lot of support. A lot of people don't use Yi, and I might get some flack for this, but it ended up. I was reading about the speed and how actually quick that the framework worked. So
Okay.
I decided to go with it, and I found a developer who developed an Yi off of Odesk,
Okay.
and he actually had the time to dedicate to the project.
Gotcha.
And I started off with him. I took the first version of his code for one of my milestones, and I handed it out to a few guys around here. They said it was good. I think if that's my one piece of advice you can take right now from this interview is, if you're developing offshore, you need to take that code and share it with people you know who are going to give you good advice based on that code. If they're going to say that that is actually good code.
Gotcha.
Because as a non-technical person, if you don't know and you let your project be developed fully out, and you're getting code that another programmer may not be able to work on,
Right.
that's
a problem. Yeah.
so you almost have to test the handoff ahead of time.
Exactly. And test early based on an early milestone.
That's great. What do you think of that, Jeff? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you certainly have to make sure that you're getting something that not only works but is legible, I guess. Because yeah, you're going to need other developers to contribute, and those conversations are interesting when developers start commenting on other developers' programming style.
Okay.
What I find is every developer will say, my way is better. Oh, he didn't do it this way that great. But everybody's going to be like that because everybody has their own way. You know?
Their own way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You think of a program as kind of like one solution, linear thing, but it's really artistic in nature, and you can solve it many, many different ways. So that's a funny outcome.
Luckily, I learned that, and so I was able to go in a good direction. So from there, that developer worked for about 4 months, maybe almost 5 months, and then he ended up taking a full-time job. So there you go. You're left with no developer.
Wow. Okay.
From there, I just went back to the same process. Said I have this application developed in me. I need a really good Yi developer,
Okay.
and I ended up finding two.
Okay.
Two developers who were exceptional in the code.
Yeah.
that
Did you
they wrote.
could you tell as a non-technical founder, like, wow, this guy's so much better than that last guy? What was I thinking? Like,
No, it's not about that. It's about, good practices and commenting on their code and making sure that everything and having a lot of knowledge in the languages that they've worked with in the past that would apply to the application.
okay.
Right? So they've worked with OpenStreetMaps. They've worked with PHP calendaring softwares. I was just looking for experience there,
Right.
so
Yeah.
they would make the process faster.
Right.
Sure.
No.
Yeah,
And
expertise.
was there? Were they mostly from India? Where did these guys end up being?
So the guys that I found who were the best crew were actually in Vietnam.
Vietnam. Okay. Wow.
And it just so happens the Yi framework is very popular there.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't even know. I've never even heard of this framework. Jeff, have you?
No, I haven't. I've been out of the PHP game for a little while, but I was playing with Symfony back in the day. But whatever.
Anyway,
works.
so all my friends here are Ruby developers, and so they think my application is like, it's BS, developed in PHP, whatever. But,
Yeah.
first iterations of applications that do well in the future, you can just develop them again and make and optimize them. So
Right.
that
No,
may-
Ruby and Rails guys get very territorial. Actually, all even the
Yeah,
other
all the
guys.
languages do. Basically, everyone's got to put up a wall and say we're better.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's the part you need to worry about. The part you need to worry about is producing a product that works and then getting traction with that product, right? So that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And then, rehashing code and developing in a different framework, whatever, that can come later.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, tell us a little bit then about the front end development. How about the product, like usability and the wireframing and the designing? How'd that come?
So I don't consider myself a designer, but I did it all. I did all the wireframing and UI work. It'd be cool if I can show you some of the internal application. But what I did is I went to current applications that I liked. Like, I don't know, have you guys heard of Podio?
No,
I don't think so.
no.
Okay, so Podio, Basecamp, I mean, a whole bunch of applications that I love. I love their design. So I take what they use, I create my own amalgamation, apply it to the software I'm designing, and go to places like Dribbble and Behance for inspiration, so I can be whatever the new design style is.
Right.
And I mean, you can't go wrong with Bootstrap, right? Twitter Bootstrap. So you use that as a first version skin.
Right.
Yep.
And that's it. I mean, I find it simple. I don't really consider myself a designer, but I don't know. I guess I can think in that way. So
No, it's great, man. That sounds like a great way of doing it. This is it's great that we got you on today, man. I didn't know where this interview was going to go, but this is awesome. I mean, you're applying. You've got your own niche. You're doing it. You're making it, and you've got it made. And now you're getting customers. You've got paying customers. And now you're just trying to figure out how to close more, maybe scale this thing up, and I mean, it's
now to anybody out there listening, you're making it sound like it's all good in flowers, but I mean,
it sounds like it's all good in flowers to me.
No, it's really not. I mean, when you there's a lot of grinding that goes on to get.
Well, talk to us about the grind. What problems? I mean, obviously, one developer ended up getting a full-time job. That was a big disruption. What were some other big issues you ran into getting this far?
So I think it's more like personally emotional. So my favorite posts when I'm watching videos like from Mixergy as such, it's when they bring in how it hurts them emotionally or how it feels, right? How everything feels. That's my favorite parts.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of times where you want to give up or you think it's too tough, and you lose a developer. The developers aren't responding to you. Yeah. I've been looking for a co-founder. If anybody's out there is a technical co-founder interested in working in PHP, right now, drop me a line.
Right.
Because technical co-founders who are good are very hard to find.
Right.
Good mentors locally are hard to find. So when you're alone, this is where I'm getting to. When you're alone in this bubble and you don't have anybody else there as a cheering section, it's kind of like it gets draining.
Yeah. So tell us about that. Tell us about some of your where it felt like, God damn it, I'm tired of doing this. What happened? And how'd you overcome some of those?
So the first version, I'd say when I'm designing, I design in iterations, right? It's like you throw up on the page and then you refine it.
Right.
So my first vomit of the design of the site, I thought, no one is ever going to use this, and it took me like weeks to get to that.
Yeah.
And so it's a constant grind I guess from a design perspective for me. I'm not.
Yeah. Visually, you're like, oh, this doesn't look that appealing, and nobody's ever going to use it. Start self-defeating kind of thoughts kind of creep in, and then what happened? Like a few days pass, a couple weeks pass. Yeah, it's not so bad. Maybe I need to tweak this, tweak that.
The thing is, that's just the way it is. Everything is an iteration. You will not know how someone's going to interact with the product either. So even when you release the product, you have to get all those reservations out, right? Because people are going to use it in a way that you don't expect. Yeah. It's not going to be really what you think, and you have to be open to that. And I think until you realize that, can you really overcome?
Let's talk about
creative difficulty in general, right? If you're an artist or a designer, or even
so as an artist, right, you want people to accept your work and to praise it. That's not really how it is in applications, because it's not about that. It's about the user, right? So let's say, for example, you spend all day on a form. You have someone sit down, and they miss where the submit button was, or they miss to fill out 2 fields. Just an example. And you're like, oh my God, I spent all day designing that form. You have to not think that way, right? It's more about the discovery that they missed that should excite you. Right. That you can change it and make it better. I guess that's where I'm trying to get to.
Well, I think, Chris, you nailed it on the head with the iteration. Like, you just have to remember that even though it's an ugly duckling, tomorrow it could be a little bit better. And even though it's kind of broken, tomorrow it could be a little bit better. And you just always have to remember it gets better, you know? That they just have to keep at it and work on version 1.2, 1.3, all that kind of thing. It's just hard, though, sometimes, because you just get tired, or some shit happens and you get all demotivated, or, you know, something happens and there's several days you get caught up with something else, you lose that momentum. What do you do when those things happen?
Well, one way is to take a break, right? I know that everybody wants to be full gung-ho all the time. We're talking about startup nature. You need to be 24/7 on your product.
Yeah.
That's a real easy way to get burnt out, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I've been there plenty of weeks at a time, especially working on various businesses at the same time. Right. So, and especially that, I feel like that's hard for me. And that's what I get from other people listening to them. For me, it's hard to disconnect myself.
Yeah.
Because I'll be thinking and feeling about my product all day and night, and I'll be out on a weekend at the beach with my wife. I live 1 mile from the beach, and we're at the beach, and I'm thinking,
right, I should be at home. I should be working.
Yeah, exactly, because you want to keep on moving forward.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to work on that, you know, my own personal way.
No, I'm glad we're talking about this. This is because my wife and I get into big arguments about this. I always feel guilty for not spending more time on doing what I should be doing.
Yeah, so what do you do to take a break then? I think calm.com might be one of these new websites that's promoting some of this stuff.
Go online and calm down.
Well, it's like enforcing you to take a break, even though, you know, you'd sit there and watch the waves or something. But even at the beach, it's hard to get away.
This might seem kind of grim in thought, but, you know, if you think, what if I died tomorrow? What do I want to be doing right now? And that's what I think about when I start to feel any type of weird emotional bad feeling. I think, okay, what do I want to be doing right now? And that's where I do go to. So right now I might say, hey, I got a new puppy. I might want to take him for a walk, or I might want to take my wife to the movies, or I might want to, you know, or I might want to be working on my application and not dealing with technical training on a pest control guy. I just think, okay, if I want to do that right now, that's what I'm going to do, you know? So I think to be able to get to that, you have to make decisions for yourself that are going to put you in a stable environment. For example, and this is another really good advice, don't live above your means, because when you do that, you are going to feel restricted by money.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's not going to let you be able to say, what do I want to do right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So don't buy that big awesome car that you want to get. Yeah, absolutely.
No, I think that's great advice, though. Is you know, as humans, it'll snap you back real quick. You know, to remember that our time is finite, and what do you want to get done with it? You know, instead of wasting time thinking about it, get out there and do what you want to do.
I feel like another big problem entrepreneurs have is they all want to change the world and want to make a huge impact and be remembered for something. Mm-hmm. And a really cool, I'm not sure of the quote, but it was from Steve Jobs, of course, and he said something about the technology industry, how everything ends up getting buried. And then, let's say in 100 years from now, unless somebody is really interested in technology, you know, all the technology that he built it won't matter anymore, you know. And someone will have to dig through the books to be able to find what he worked on.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So even eventually his work, that was so great, will eventually be buried in time. You know. So.
Yeah.
And not be so influential anymore. Anyway, so I think that we all have to think about not trying to put that burden on yourself to think, oh, I need to do great, amazing things. You need to just touch and give to the people that are around you, and do what you want to be doing. Don't be stuck doing something you don't want to be doing.
I love this, man. This is great.
Yeah, it's incredible. It sounds like you've been thinking about this a little bit.
I was like, shit, man, Chris, you should be writing a book, God damn it. I would buy this thing.
No, really, I mean, I just try to absorb from mentors and the people who are already talking about this
I love
stuff.
this whole living in the present and all that. Absolutely. But I can't help but think as an entrepreneur, like I'm just so driven by like escaping the rat race and making money so I can just not do anything. And that's not a good way of thinking either, because not doing anything is not the answer.
But
It's
that thought of wanting to escape to eventually be out of it
yeah, be out of something.
is making you not be able to live right now,
Yeah.
right? Right? It's making you
Or it's
miss
or
miss
it's
right now.
making me like push whatever I'm doing as hard as possible now to so in the one hand it does push me and it does engage me, but the thing is what am I engaged for, and what's the big vision? And sometimes it's hard to know. Right, all I can do right now is just kind of, okay, well, this is going to make me money, let me pour my energy in that. And I don't know, sometimes
If
it's
you're
hard to know what that.
absorbed, if you're fully absorbed in something for the future, as long as it's something that you like and you want to be doing right now, then it's fine.
Yeah,
If you
okay.
want to work on it 24/7, that's great, but you have to like and want to do it. Don't be totally motivated by money, because you'll end up like me, building a company, a pest control company that you aren't fully passionate about. I want to be doing a technology company.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay, that's one way of looking at it. Or the other way of looking at it is, it was awesome that you did that, and now you're scratching your own itch with this technology company, and you could argue that that sort of thinking back then actually was helpful.
Right, but during those times of developing a company you aren't as passionate about, it doesn't feel that way. You don't
Yeah,
feel as good and great about it.
you're absolutely right about that. Yeah, yeah,
But
Yeah.
I understand where anybody else would come from. Well, now he's in a financial place where he can do what he wants now. And I guess people can argue that trade off.
So, Jeff, what do you think? Do you think you should follow your passion, or do you think you should follow the profit and then eventually follow the passion?
No, I don't think the profits first approach is sane at all. I think the idea of retiring is terrible. I want to I don't, the money is not the goal. The goal is to keep doing what you want to do. So I think the idea of making it and then quitting is like, did you start just to hit that benchmark and call it quits, and then what, right? Like, so when I retire, what am I going to do? I want to keep building cool stuff, keep building companies, and I mean, I guess you could take other approaches to that. Maybe you evolve it to angel investing or, other forms. But I think having the passion is critical to the business's success, and not wanting to just flip it or sell out.
Yep, that's right. That's why investors invest in people, instead of the business a lot of the time.
Yeah, exactly. Because you got to have that long-term vision, or the business isn't going to make it.
Well, this is a really good topic, guys. I kind of segued into the sort of philosophy, being an entrepreneur and everything. I think it's really great.
Well, and how were you influenced by your parents, or the environment that you grew up in?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Right. So I've always been a very introverted person, which is odd, right? I don't know.
Sure.
So I think I've just read a lot. I really read. I've read a lot about philosophy recently. When I start to feel something, or I feel like I want to know something, there's plenty of resources to read and research on, and that's what I do. That's my internal approach. I'm not very much of an outward, go and find somebody type deal. I just kind of research on my own and read
Right.
quietly.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
But as far as what denotes to that, I mean, I was an English major. I like writing and researching. I guess it's just part of my nature.
Well,
Uh,
Chris, your parents being in business and having an entrepreneurial family. I mean, I know my parents are also entrepreneurs and have their own business and stuff, and for me, it's been a big influence.
Well, that's not what they wanted for me.
Yeah. Well, they
Okay.
want
Yeah.
This is what I want to hear. Yeah.
Okay, so they wanted me to be a doctor, of course. Everybody's family wants me.
right,
They didn't want me. They didn't want me to struggle. I mean, as they
right,
think,
as they put it. Yeah.
in doing a blue collar business.
Right.
But that's just all that schooling and such. It wasn't for me. I had the entrepreneurial niche and always did. I mean, I worked for 1 year at college, and all this time I've been on my own. Made my own salary.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know if that really answers your question.
Well, I guess I'm just curious because a lot of people who are into startups or looking at Silicon Valley and all this stuff come out of college and work regular day jobs, and they don't really get to see entrepreneurship from the inside out like yourself probably were able to see. Growing with a family business and seeing that sort of dedication, I think, is different than some of the blue collar side. Some of the people that are just going to work in a cubicle. And
I do think that seeing it work within my family and it being successful, it put both me and my brother through college, that I was able to see and be more comfortable with the fact that, you can do it easily. And my parents, they had high school educations and they made a business work for them. And I think that a lot of people still have parents that way.
Yeah.
And those parents they do inspire you to not think twice as maybe some other people would in jumping into it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back to iteration again because it's a great topic, and not being so emotionally tied to whatever you're creating and maybe seeing version 3.0 in your head and whatever. What kind of what kind of setbacks did you have? Obviously, the programming. Obviously that's a big part of it. Your own design insecurities, let's say. What other setbacks? Can you think of any others that were initial setbacks, and then you thought, let me iterate?
Let me pull something out real fast here.
Okay.
So who's not reading that?
Favorite book ever.
Yeah, rework.
Okay, so when you read this and you look at 37 Signals as a super successful company,
right?
Everybody has this aim and this goal right here, right?
Right.
And everybody's into lean startup. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
And my company is the complete opposite of these teachings of lean startup. So when you're sitting there and you're thinking, I'm doing everything they're saying not to do. Okay. I took 2 years on a product.
Okay.
It makes you really
so awesome.
uneasy. It makes you...
That is hilarious. That is hilarious. You're right. So you didn't put up a landing page. You didn't drive traffic. You didn't look for signups. You didn't do any of that, actually. You just said, this is a niche that I have, and I'm going to build it, and I know it's going to work. You kind of went on that faith, I guess.
Well, the market's already validated. So I think that all this works for an unvalidated market. Or maybe a lot of things are like task apps and product activity apps. It's what's their spin? That's what they're pitching, right? Is what's their spin? They know that it's going to work, but they're so intrigued with, I want it to be the next big app. Why people should have the idea that I can just get a little segment of that market? Yeah. Why can't the small entrepreneur be happy with a few hundred customers or just a couple thousand? You don't need to be hundreds of thousands of users.
You don't need that Zuckerberg money. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But, I think that, and this is coming from, a guy in South Florida who has no connection or desire with getting funded and all that jazz. So this is a different mindset. It's a mindset of, hey, I want to have a small, successful SaaS startup, and because that's what I'm passionate, that's what I want to do.
Right.
And I love it. It looks sexy to me, but I have a very niche, small idea. Right. I only need a few hundred customers to say it was successful for me.
Yeah, there you go. I love it. Yeah, I love these sort of just lifestyle businesses where you don't need to be billionaires. Yeah, just enough.
But there's a lot going against that, and I think that people need to sometimes think in a different way. So don't always feel like this is the solution.
Bible, right? Yeah.
You have a validated market you're passionate about. You want to get into it. Build a product that's different and grab a little section of the market. That's exactly what every small business here in America does. They grab just a little part of a local market and they're successful. That's all anybody needs to do.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Jeff, what do you think of this?
No, it's brilliant. I mean, it's really a great way to create a useful application that people love and create relationships that you enjoy being around every day. Help with the customers that you're helping, and they appreciate your help, obviously. Well, unfortunately, the VCs, aren't gonna. It's not the VC game
it's
and
the
Facebook game, and but screw those guys. They're gonna, they're going to sunset eventually anyways.
It's weird, Chris, because when you say, when I had no idea you were gonna get up and grab rework and all that, and give us this whole like I didn't follow any of these guys. Wasn't expecting that, but when you did it, the first thought I had was like, well, I started laughing because we cover so many guys. We talk about MVP, and we talk about the lean startup, and me and Jeff talk off camera about all this stuff, and we read the same shit you do, and it's great. It's great that you just kind of did it with your gut. You already had a validated product. Yeah, you already had that. You already knew how the service worked. So yeah, it totally makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't have to. Now a lot of other information in here and such is really good, right? It's just the whole lean canvas thing, validating a market. I feel like that's for some things, but if you have a market that's already validated that you want to get into, just focus on building a really good product, right? I mean, it's pretty easy.
So tell us a little bit about.
It's a good focus, I think.
Tell us a little about the product. Is it mobile friendly? Is it all iPhone? Is it all native, or is it HTML5 or?
Yeah, so there's an HTML5 app for the phone browser, and the exact desktop application works within the browser on any tablet and is optimized, in scale to scale,
right,
fluidly with any tablet size. So that's how you keep your costs low. You don't want to start developing native apps in the beginning, especially until you know how they're using the product.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it. HTML5 is my favorite way to design mobile apps.
Yeah.
What was your approach? Did you do that with media queries, or did you use a framework or tool?
They use the same framework and Bootstrap within Yi, and just kind of customized it and tweaked it a little bit. I'm not totally familiar with all the technical, so they made it happen.
Gotcha.
Cool.
Yeah. Wow. So at this point, you've got a few customers. Your next move is you're going to start calling some of these other guys that are signed up and trying to close them. What's that like, man? When you do the follow-up call, do you just like, hey, is this Bob? Great. What did you think of? What kind of questions do you ask these guys? You just keep it open-ended. How did you even get over the cold calling bit, the fear?
That's actually pretty good. I think I still have that a little bit. But I know that I can't convert the customer unless I do so. So I rely on my knowledge, and that gives me some security. A lot of the guys I feel more comfortable talking with that I've had a level of success that they haven't achieved yet.
Right.
So I almost talk to them just, hey, what can I teach you?
Right.
What can I help you on? And does my software fit? And if it doesn't fit for you, then okay, were there still any questions that you had for me? How can I help? It's really about, that's the whole approach is, can I help you, and is my software a fit for you right now?
Okay. Have you had any issues like with the cold calling fear, or do you get into that like, oh man, I got to call these guys, don't know if I want to do this, or does that ever hit you?
100%. So for right now, it's all what I'm going to do and rely on, and this is probably bad advice, but I'm going to rely on my organic and content generation to bring those trials signups in, and then put all my time into somebody who's already reached out to me.
Okay.
And that opens the door, right?
Right.
I do not have that sales cold call mentality.
Okay.
But I may have to come to a point where I develop it, right? I may outgrow the ability, hopefully not, but to develop those inbound leads.
Right, the inbound leads, yeah. Well, it looks like you're okay. Or you said you got a couple of 100 signups that you've already got in queue, right? Am I wrong?
There's 150 in trial, and 11 who have signed up since it's been about 2 months now.
I got you. So how long does the trial last?
30 days.
30 days. And then you're saying 11 out of those, whatever, 100, 200, 150, whatever, have signed up, and then you've got another 100 are within the 30-day cycle right now. They haven't.
130 exactly within our cycle right now.
Gotcha. At which point do you think you're going to start calling? Like the 4th week, or have you thought about that, or right away?
I should have called them all within the first couple of days. It's just that I was too busy.
Okay.
So right now, every sign up that signs up within the first 2 to 3 days, I'll be contacting personally.
Okay.
And following up with. And right now, I've segmented email lists in MailChimp.
Okay.
Some people I've called say, is this feature available? Is this, and a lot of times it's not yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just put them into a segment to say, hey, contact this person maybe when we have this feature available.
That's awesome. I love that. So you've got the segments set up, so you're not bothering everybody that may or may not have an issue with some features or whatever. Cool. I love this. So those 12 or 11 people that did sign up without you calling, what do you think happened there? Like, why did they sign up, and why didn't you have to call them? Like, why are those guys easier to sell than the other ones? What's your...
They all have a pain point, and they're all coming from me from almost the same exact software. And that software is not SaaS based. It's old Windows based, almost DOS looking type software.
Really old.
Gotcha.
So they're all ready for the change, and this is a good time. I feel like it's a good entry point.
Oh, that's beautiful. So you're basically getting these guys migrating from something that they've already used, a tool, to something better, a better tool.
Exactly, and there's pain in that too, because there's a process of migrating their data.
Migrating data, okay.
Into our software.
How have you handled that issue?
Right now, just grinding. So what I do is I have them export for me in an Excel format, and I am personally going through the data so that I can learn what needs to be done for setting up the proper imports and such, so that can be better.
So have you specifications for the developer to build that tool for you?
Yeah, there is an import. It's just we haven't thought of all the scenarios yet.
Gotcha. So, wow. All right. So a lot of these, you guys are almost kind of. Do you know if this older software product, do they have a lot of customers? Is there any way you can directly keyword target them in your blog posts now from now on?
They do have a lot of customers, and that's something I need to be thinking about. I don't know that they're actively searching for that own software, right? They're going to be searching for something new. So that's what I'm optimizing around right now.
Right. Okay, cool. I love it. So out of the 130, how long do you figure it's going to take you? Are you just calling one a day, or how are you separating that up? Or
okay, so one really good thing, and I saw some videos you guys had on this, is how do you segment your time, right? Especially as a solo or even a duo co-founder mix for your startup.
Right.
And I think a few guys already answered it in some of your videos. It's you maintain your current customers, make sure all their needs are met. You start contacting anybody who's in your queue. You want to be keeping all those customers happy that you do have.
Right.
And then working on additional marketing and advancing of your application.
This sounds like a lot of work, Chris. I mean, how many hours do you plan on dedicating this? I mean, to the new people.
It is a lot of work. It is a lot of work, and it depends on my own drive. So honestly, I do work a lot. So I'll probably work all day and night for quite a few weeks here in a row now.
Oh, you might burn out, man. Just be careful.
Yeah, but it's because I'm gung ho. I'm into it. It's what I want to be doing. Right. This is
right. Yeah.
So then it's okay.
Then it's okay. Yeah. That really helps. Yeah. At some later date, hopefully you can bring on a couple of other team members that you can train, and to handle the phone follow up and all that.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. Have you considered hiring maybe somebody offshore, or would that just be a local thing for you?
I feel like I personally have to know and touch the first 200 customers.
Yeah, I completely agree there. Absolutely.
So until I reach that goal, which is probably a 6-month goal, to make sure that everybody, I mean, I don't know, maybe that's optimistic. Even if it takes a year, I need to be that intimate with.
Yeah. I completely agree. That is really, really smart. Yeah.
It sounds like you picked that target out very specifically too.
Yeah, that's another word of advice to anybody out there. If you just want to, get your SaaS startup going, and you feel like, I'm going to get 1,000 customers in the first week, that is not the idea you need to have in your head. You need to think, let me go super slow in the beginning, and then I'll scale up, because it can fall apart pretty easy, right?
Absolutely. Especially in the beginning, you definitely need that personal touch. Absolutely. Yeah, you're going to learn so much, of course, yeah. Jeff, I'm sorry, we didn't catch that. What did you say?
Oh, yeah, I think picking 200 customers as a goal is pretty smart. I mean, that sounds like a stake you put in the sand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just put together this thermometer picture, and I started writing in the name.
Oh my gosh.
That's great.
And then I'm gonna create something where I want to know them. I want to know their business and say, am I helping your business, and what else can I be doing for these people?
Right. Oh, I love it. I
I
tell
had
you.
one person on this list already sign up 4 other people.
Oh, for the referrals. Oh, brilliant.
Yep.
If you are that intimate and
Yeah.
they're that close to you, they are
Yeah.
gonna refer
Oh,
your.
that is the best, man. If you can get those referrals going, oh, it's awesome.
That's so cool. I'm glad you showed us the thermometer. I'm actually a big fan of having a placed metric in front of you that you kind of walk into the office every morning and
Yeah, something
you
printed
know
out or
what you're
something.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You know
So
what you're
this
going
is
after.
this reads 25 at a time, and I'm just gonna pin them up here and put,
Yeah.
you know, a new one each time until I reach 200, and then we'll have a little steak dinner or something.
Nice.
I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really great, man. It's been really great having you on today, Chris. It's been more. I've learned more out of this in last, I don't know, hour, just because you're actually doing it. You know, you're actually in the trenches and you're making it happen. And yeah, it's been really great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited just to be at this point. A lot of people are telling me, "Wow, you got to hear this is great," but to me, I just see the road ahead, right? So again, that's struggling with living in now and not always living in the future. So.
Yeah. And more importantly, you're not in not in San Fran, not in Sunnyvale or some big tech city. You're just kind of seems like I was like West Florida. What's going on over there?
No, that's
South
great.
Florida.
Oh, sorry, South
it's
Florida.
Beautiful here. You're gonna end up retiring here. So,
Yeah. No, I think
but
it's cool. Instead of-
the tech scene, there's a lot of co-working spaces opening up.
Oh, yeah?
The tech's getting. I mean, it's a little active. It's
Okay.
not going to be like other places, but it is. It's nice and relaxing. Let's say down here.
Okay. Tell us some more about that. What have you noticed in the last couple of years? You mentioned the co-working spaces. Anything else? Any other events? Or?
Yeah, I think there's at least 10 different co-working spaces. There's Makerspace is becoming really huge,
Okay.
where they do like a co-working with, different equipment and 3D printers and all that. That's really catching.
Okay.
Is that in your areas as also?
Yeah.
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 So that's,
It's definitely a big trend we're seeing. Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, it's also going on down here. Now for myself, and I don't know about others, working in a co-working space, I'm not able to be as focused. When I focus, I need to be, total quiet, just me, and
Right.
that's when I get my best work done. But going to those spaces for your relaxation time, to unwind, get to know other people,
Okay.
people who aren't as savvy in design and programming and stuff, you need to be asking questions and learning
Gotcha.
and all that.
All right.
So
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
do you still have any memberships, or do you still go?
I just pop in on all the free meetups and
Okay.
events and stuff when I have time
Yeah.
to go.
That's awesome. Yeah, we've got like a free. There's like a meetup group that hits all of them. Throughout the week. All the free days.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this is a great idea. I should probably do this. I haven't done it yet, but it's
Glad to hear that insight, though. We're still kind of trying to figure out how to make best use of the co-working spaces. I think the events and meetups are the best way so far. I can't quite see myself, putting an office in there unless I had a couple people working next to me that I needed to physically be near, maybe. Yeah, and even, besides the tips, in my shoes a few years ago, this stuff motivates me more than anything. Just, we really appreciate hearing your story, sharing it with everyone. Again, sometimes, people may not put enough weight into it, but I think this opportunity for you to just get it out there is really inspiring for people that could be anywhere in America or the world sitting and listening to this.
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, some other tidbits. I mean, like we were hinting at before, just don't live above your means. When I bought a place, but I bought a duplex. I rent out the other side, and I live in one side.
Yeah.
Thankfully, my wife was okay with that, and
Right.
she sees it as an investment also. So
Great.
I've driven the same car for 10 years, so has she.
Right.
I don't lease, I buy. I mean, I don't know. It's just that's my whole thing.
No.
I just don't want to be restricted by having debt overhang me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You can breathe easier and think more clearly, probably, as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So anybody that a lot of people are, whoever is in debt, work your way through it, and still think that don't let it choke you, because again, going to the grim thing, we can all die tomorrow. Something. So you still have to live for today and be happy today, but just make your plan to get through it and to to be able to do what you want to do.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
Words of wisdom.
Yeah. Well, let's end it on that note. Thank you again, Chris, for coming, man. It's been awesome. I look forward to chatting with you again very soon.
All right. Thanks so much. Take care, guys.
Yeah, thanks again.